You know, there's this funny thing I've realized about we humans. We have a tendency of making bad decisions, and then after it has turned out to be a bad decision, we go ahead and blame people.
To all of you who are blaming us Arabs for Kamala losing, I'll tell you this. Kamala had everything already. All she had to do was stop sending billions of dollars to a foreign country. All she had to do was listen to the people, and she refused to do so. She shut down our voices time and time again. What did you think was going to happen? She's a grown woman. She made her choice, and she dug her own grave, and that's it. It has nothing to do with us. Particularly Palestinian voices were even talking about not endorsing the red and blue parties. And what do, some of you? You vote for the parties that are hurting them in the first place. Did Palestine teach you nothing? Or do you just not care about them?
Okay, so this is an open letter to all the Palestinian and Muslim Americans who may have voted for Trump. If you're not one of them, you can go ahead and keep on scrolling. So I say this with all the love that I could possibly say it with, but you made a mistake. And God willing, it does not turn into a grave or a fatal mistake, but you definitely made a mistake. So not only did you vote against the interests of the people who have been sitting here and, protesting, losing, and quitting jobs, and literally mental health in shambles, risking themselves for your cause, but also, you voted against yourself. Donald Trump called migrants not human and animals. And I know not everybody I'm speaking to right now is an immigrant, but did you really think he didn't mean you? Did you really think he didn't mean you? And beyond that, right? I don't know if you guys remember or recall this, or maybe you didn't vote then, or maybe you didn't know this at all, but the first time he got elected, immigrants and people of color were hiding. Do you know why we were hiding? Because of the chaos that ensued. Because his supporters felt so safe and being racist and xenophobic and going around and banging on people's doors and yelling at them that you're going to get deported and yelling racial slurs and doing all sorts of stuff to people. They felt real comfortable doing that. And my question to you is, if this were to ensue, and God willing it does not, none of this happens, right? But if this violence and this chaos were to ensue, do you think that you would be an exception? Do you think that you would be an exception? Like, do you think that you would not be targeted also? Many of you being people of color and immigrants or family members of immigrants. Donald Trump is a liar. He's a warmonger. He's divisive. He's racist. He's sexist. He does not care about people who are not rich for real. And you think that you voted in your own best interest, really? I'm disappointed, to say the least.
The second phase of the Gaza ceasefire was supposed to begin today. What happened instead is Netanyahu met with Trump to lobby his approval for another arms package to continue the war in Gaza. Again, negotiations for phase 2 were set to begin today, and they were postponed by Netanyahu until after his trip to Washington, leaving many outraged and wondering why. Well, we don't have to wait for the answer because Trump has just officially requested congressional approval for a new arms sale to Israel worth up to $1 billion. The proposed package, no doubt requested by Netanyahu himself, includes 4,700 1,000-pound bombs valued at over $700 million. It also includes armored bulldozers valued at over $300 million. And of course, after this request, Donald Trump told reporters that there is no guarantee that the ceasefire in Gaza will hold. Hamas has told the mediators in Egypt that they are ready to negotiate for phase 2. The only holdup is Netanyahu and Donald Trump. Because this ceasefire was never meant to hold. It was always meant to give Israel more time to rearm.
Why is nobody else protesting with us? We're not the only immigrants. Latinos are not the only immigrants. There's Europeans, there's from Africa, there's from Asia, there's from all over. Where are you guys at? Why are your people not standing with us?
You know, we blame people for our own bad decisions. What I'm speaking of is the Latinos, the Venezuelans. They have been complaining so much that Trump is not doing as he promised. Trump showed the red flags very much early, but we chose not to look at the red flags and act accordingly. Trump showed you who he was, but you didn't believe him. You know, Oprah Winfrey says, if someone shows you who they are, kindly believe them. Believe them, okay? So, in this case, we also have another group of individuals or immigrants. You know, USA is a country of immigrants. It's a multiracial country. The original inhabitants of that country are the Red Indians. And also, it might be some black people who are the original inhabitants, you know. Now, the Arabs are also complaining about Trump's decisions, you know. First of all, Trump says he's going to attack, not really attack, but he's going to buy. He's going to buy a place that has been a center of war, a place that has been a breeding ground for conflicting parties in the Middle East. I'm speaking about the Strip of Gaza. So Trump has decided he's going to buy this place and is going to kick out the Arabs in Palestine and push them into Africa. That's very much silly. It's silly. That's not bringing peace. That's transferring a problem. You're transferring a problem from the Middle East into Africa. If you really want to bring peace, as you say, I believe you should find a better solution, not that. That is one of the things that the Arabs are not happy about. Another thing is the immigration policies. You see, Trump is not against black people only. Trump is against people who are coming to overcrowd USA. That is another thing he's against. And then we have these anti-Islam movements, anti-Islam demonstration, anti-Islam protests. Arabs are Islams, or they are Muslims. Islam, Muslim, the same thing. Now, people vote for someone whom they know this will bring a problem. But now after voting, you decide, you start crying and doing... You shouldn't cry. You shouldn't cry. No. Listen to what and how these Arabs are misbehaving. Yeah, I'm calling it misbehavior because they knew very well this was to come. Listen to this. I shall get back.
The illegal immigrants are coming here. Illegal immigrants. They are hiding. They are on benefits. The government is giving them council houses. Huh? The illegal people are coming into this country. You're giving council houses, big houses. You're giving them all benefits. And this country, those who are working in this country, you don't give them anything. What is this? You can bring people to work in the country, which is okay. But they have to live in the country by the rules of the country. They cannot bring their own agenda and they cannot bring their own laws and religion, their whatever the force religion or force laws upon people. This is a free country and this country has the right where the people can speak free of speech and people can give their own opinions. So my dear friends, this country is no more...
Saudi Arabia is now buying cheap Russian oil so it can then sell its own oil to the West. Russia wins, Saudi Arabia wins, and the West loses. And also, Saudi Arabia buys Russians' oil in the ruble, not the dollar. And this is the first time since the petrodollars where oil starts to be traded internationally with other currencies. And the Saudi climate envoy came out and said there's a lot of hypocrisy in European and other energy policies. And we do know that Joe Biden met with Saudi Arabia a couple days ago, but it seems like the meeting didn't go as Joe wanted. Russia putting the grip on energy is really causing a lot of problems. And no, I'm not a Putin supporter, I don't support his decision to invade Ukraine, but at the same time, he is kind of playing a game of chess here. And the US initially, when they froze Russia's reserves, was not really the best move in the long term. And the US also weaponizing the dollar was also a not good move for the dollar in the long term. Yes, the dollar still is the world reserve currency and is still the most powerful currency. But this also makes the US less trustworthy because essentially if you go whatever against the US wants, they're going to try and fuck you over. And a lot of these climate change policies are actually complete bullshit. I think a lot of people don't really understand how important oil and gas are to really having our society run. And the fact that some of these European countries are going back to mining coal is an absolute joke, considering mining coal is absolutely horrible for the environment. And join the Discord, link in.
If the UK doesn't want immigrants to come here, then why don't they protest for a free Palestine? Because then the Palestinians can thrive in their own land and it will stop the immigrants from coming here. Anyway, I'm so angry. I also can't stand the fact that we are saying stuff like, oh, we bought you curry and we bought you this, that to the UK, so you wouldn't have all these things if it wasn't for us immigrants. We don't have to prove why we should be here. We don't have to give something to justify that we deserve to be here. We don't have to be like, we've generated this much wealth for the UK, we've brought this, that. That doesn't make any sense. We deserve to be here because the UK owes us that. The UK came into our countries, lynched our grandparents, stole our land, pushed us out of our own countries. So anything that we bring to the UK, whether it's wealth, whether it's food, whether it's whatever, it's a gift from us. It's a bonus for you guys, aka the white people. Like, immigrants do not need to contribute to society to prove that they should be here. You should be wanting to give us safety. You should be wanting to give us the world of...
Good morning. So when I woke up today, I did some research and I came across this article from the New York Times. And it was titled, "This is not the Donald Trump that America voted for." And it got me thinking, they couldn't be any more wrong. Because this is the exact Donald Trump that America voted for. I am from MAGA and I've been making videos for years talking about what's going to happen when Donald Trump gets elected. And I was called crazy. But I knew this was coming. Where do you think I got this information from? Donald Trump himself. I knew this was coming. Donald Trump knows what the American people want. He also wants it. We are happy with what he is doing. We know America needs these changes. So no, I do not agree with the article from the New York Times. MAGA is happy with what is happening. We know prices are going to go down. We know what Donald Trump is doing right now is necessary, and actually some of it is going to help that. When you eliminate unnecessary spending, that's going to have an effect in the future. So it's not just that MAGA and America are happy with Donald Trump. We can't wait to see what else he's going to do. Have a great day.
If you want to know what a second Trump term will look like and sound like, MAGA World gave the country an honest preview of it during an all-day event at Madison Square Garden this weekend. And it is worth listening to.
It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies, too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They inside, just like they did to our country. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
She is some sick that Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a...
She is the devil, whoever screamed that out. She is the Antichrist.
America is for Americans and Americans only.
Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president, it was just a groundswell of popular support.
It's just this amorphous group of people, but they're smart and they're vicious, and we have to defeat them. And when I say the enemy from within, the other side goes crazy, becomes a sound. Oh, how can he say? No, they've done very bad things to this country. They are indeed the enemy from within.
The roughly 6-hour gathering amplified what has always been Donald Trump's central message, that to him and MAGA world more broadly, there is an us and there is a them. them that can include migrants, transgender Americans, Palestinians, the Jews who don't fall in line, women who don't have children, men who are not manly enough, celebrities, journalists, protesters, Democrats, and anyone who pushes back. Those that, quote, poison the blood, who are ruining this country. It is a language of otherism and rage, telling Americans that all you need to do is point to them. They are the problem. Elect me and I alone will fix it. He said that. Fix them. He won with it, as you know, in 2016. In 2020, he used that rage to convince thousands of people to storm the Capitol and millions since to stop believing in our elections.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely a seismic shift in favor of Donald Trump here in Dearborn and across Michigan in general. And I do believe Michigan is going to be the deciding factor in this election, and people are starting to wake up. It is not my first time voting for a Republican, and it's not, probably my last time voting for a Democrat if they continue to, go on this path. Our as Dearborn voters, we want to be heard. So the person that wants to listen to us and wants to reciprocate, the love and tolerance, then we are going to shift towards that candidate. And today that...
All right, to my fellow Trump supporters, I am part of that Latino vote that helped give President Trump the win last night. And this post says, Team Trump reposted and still got no followers. Si te quieren, which means they really do like you. So if I could ask for your support, if you could just please hit that like button, repost this, and follow me, I would greatly appreciate it. I think by the results from today, we can all agree that Latinos have changed their perspective on what is needed in America, and I'm very proud of our Latinos that went out and supported Donald Trump just like I did. This was my first election, and my parents are immigrants who also support Donald Trump, so we are very happy with the win that President Trump took last night. I am also pursuing my master's degree, so if this platform could help pay for that, I mean, crazier things have happened on TikTok, right? So if you could, again, just like this post, share it, and follow me, I would greatly appreciate it.
What is your problem with the immigrants coming in?
The problem with the immigrants coming in is they're undocumented and illegal. The Irish people can't afford these undocumented male. There's no women, there's no children, it's just men. And then we have also the economic migrants coming in as well. We can't afford it. We have nowhere to put them. The Irish people have nowhere to live.
I mean, many people would say that it's a racist thought, etc., to be saying that. Is it?
No, it's definitely not. We have lots and lots of people here, diverse from everywhere in the world. There's no problem with those people. They have jobs, they come, they work, they make their whole life here. What we're talking about is unvetted, undocumented male migrants between 20 and 35 years of age. There's nothing for them to do. There's nowhere for them to go. They're going to be put in tents at the moment, and it's costing us millions per day for the ones who are in hotels. Our own people have nowhere to live. Our own people are on the streets.
Oh my God, I know why the Arabs are not looking after the refugees. And they're sending them to the UK purposely. And you know why that is? Because most of England has been sold out to the Arabs. So effectively, the Arabs are looking after the refugees by sending them here. And you people out there complain about the Muslims and all these Muslims in this country, you need to get out and you need to go. Let me give you some facts. The Arabs are the 10th largest landowners of the land in the UK. They own BP, HSBC, Vodafone, Asda, Shard, Chelsea Barracks. Sorry, the Asda's owned by, well, Muslims actually, Pakistanis. They own Chelsea Barracks. They own Canary Wharf. Google it if you want me to go on. However, they own 544 acres in Scotland. They own Sainsbury's and Argos in Manchester. They own Mayfair. In fact, it's called Little Doha. And 2.1 million square feet of this country.
I'm a pro-Palestinian supporter and I live in a swing state in America. And I thought I would share with you how I'm voting this election. I have felt extremely disillusioned from our democracy, and I had decided that I was not going to vote this election. I have been uncommitted, and though I was a registered Democrat, I believed that I was not going to vote. However, I live in a swing county in a swing state, and I am very aware that every vote counts. And I feel very irresponsible not going out to vote on Tuesday. Now, if I lived in a location in the U.S. that was not a swing state, I would go out and cast my vote for Jill Stein and the Green Party. I feel like her policies most align with my belief system. However, as I stated, I believe it might be irresponsible to cast that ballot in a swing location. I have felt very disillusioned from the Democratic Party in particular this past year because of their disgusting stance on the genocide in Gaza. However, if I look at Donald Trump and I listen to his rhetoric, I know that his presidency would be even worse. I believe that he would allow Netanyahu to do anything that he wanted, as he's doing now, and I think that he would support even more genocide and even more destruction in the Middle East. Though I am not pleased with the Democrats, and I am absolutely disgusted with their policy on Palestine, I think that our best chance is to continue with a Democrat in office. Now, of course, there's so many other policies to consider when considering the candidates that we have. But for me, I think on Tuesday I'm going to cast my vote for Kamala Harris. And I thought I would share that with anyone who was on the fence or considering not going.
There's an argument to say that if the Arab American, Muslim American voter base in Michigan doesn't turn out for Harris, that could create a path to a Trump presidency. How does that make you feel?
You know, it doesn't make me feel any way. I think that the Democratic Party should be punished for supporting this genocide. And I know that a lot of people will vote for Trump because they want to punish the Democratic Party because, you know, especially in Dearborn voted Democrat the last election, and it's been a disappointment to the people. The Democrats did nothing but let down the Arab American and Muslim American population. They did not listen. They are not listening to what we want, what we're saying. We've been, you know, protesting the streets all over the United States, and Kamala Harris removed a Muslim from, you know, her rally, and I just think that, you know, she should be punished. The Democratic Party should be punished.
For those who are voting third party, I'm just going to ask you this because a lot of people are saying it. What do you say to people who argue that you are wasting your vote and helping to get Trump elected? Who would like to take that first?
Well, if Trump does get elected, that's not our problem. That's solely the Democrats' problem. I can't, in good conscience, vote for either party. Democrat or Republican. So like when they say, oh, but, you know, a vote third party is a vote for Trump. Well, first off, I'm not going to vote for somebody who has a direct hand in genocide. And then secondly, I'm not voting for Trump either. So that's your problem, not mine.
Okay, does anybody want to add to that, please?
I think it's kind of presumptuous to assume that the Democratic Party had our votes in the first place. So I actually, I resent that assumption. In 2020, not 2020, I'm sorry, back in 2000, I remember both parties kind of scaring our community into going one way or another, right? I was not old enough to vote. Then in 2004, they scared me into voting for John Kerry. I said never again at that point. I'm not going to be backed into this anymore, into this corner. The lesser of two evil is actually the evil of two lessers, and I'm not going to engage in that.
I came home the day I met Trump, and I gave my son a MAGA hat, and I said, I guess we're there. And he said, ew. His first words to me were, ew. I said, but Baba, he said he's gonna stop the war. And he said, okay, that's it. Give me that hat. We're voting for Trump. And that's the sentiment, not just of an 8-year-old, but of an entire community. If you're gonna stop the war, even if I don't like you, I'm on your team.
Now, the life and the testimonies and the experience of Sister Onaija in Pakistan should be a reminder to us that we are a single human race. And it should remind us that even though the colonialists had put a very, very solid ideology into the minds of their colonial, their former colonies, it is that not everyone, or rather, it is not each country that had taken into consideration and made it a mandatory into their countries. What I mean is this. I may not have used the right words, but what I mean is this. The British came and they told us the standards of beauty. They told us the standards of morals. They told us the standards of education. But I'm telling you, even before they came, each country had their own unique system of these three set domains. These domains that I've just told you: education, morality, and beauty. Each country had their own, you know. For Pakistan, they had their own culture, a culture that the British colonial rule would not wipe out. In Pakistan, they retained it. And that is why we are seeing this lady, she's being welcomed. In Africa, we also have our own traditional heritages. We have our own cultures. We have our own ways of welcoming people. In Africa, we call it Ubuntu, you know, the spirit of togetherness. You know, Chinua Achebe says, we should come and eat together. When we come and eat together, it's not that you don't have food in your own home. No, it is the spirit of Ubuntu that calls us together. If you come and eat at my homestead, it is not that from your homestead you cannot see the moon. It is the spirit of togetherness. If I come to your homestead, say, and I eat your food, we eat your food together. It is not that I lack food in my own house. It is that we want to share the spirit of Ubuntu together, see the moon together, because we share the moon. Why can't we share the food? Why can't we share our spirits? Why can't we share the abundance God has given us? You know, the world has turned into a greedy world, and that's why Sister Niger is such an enigma. She's come to change things. She's come to show us, oh no, some people are still calling her crazy. Really? Crazy. The real people who are the craziest are out there. And we call them normal. Those are the most craziest people. They kill people, they steal money, they do this and that. They don't care about other people, they care about themselves. But this lady, let me tell you one thing. Such kind of people are people who are so much kind-hearted. They take care of other people than they take care of themselves. Yet, we call them crazy. That's why Jesus said one thing. Jesus said one thing. Let me repeat. Jesus said one thing. He said that in Mark chapter 10, verse 14, we used to sing this rhyme when we were children. When I was a child in baby class, maybe, I was, I think, 5, 6 years old. We used to sing this song, our Lord and Savior says, in Mark chapter 10, in verse 14, let all the children come, let all the children come, let all the children come to me. That was the song. Let all the children come to me. Yeah, I have a child. I know how they behave. They do wrong, they don't know if it's wrong. They do right, they don't know if it's right. To them, they don't have the concept of right and wrong, but they have innocence. You see, someone is always judged. Someone is always sentenced based on the intentions. The intentions is what sentences you. I'm not giving room to ignorance, no. But intentions are the ones which crucify people. Because there has to be a motivation to do something. And when the motivation lacks, it means the intention was not available. You see, those people who will see heaven are those people who are, their minds are like minds of children. The rest of the world might call them mad. The rest of the world might call them insane. But let me tell you, these are the people who will see heaven. And those people who see that they are normal, and we are quick to call other people abnormal, you will be surprised on the final day. You will be surprised. So, Sister Niger She's one of a kind, you know. She's one of a kind. The world might call her bipolar, but she's one of a kind. Everything she spoke the truth. She might have been rude to some extent to that gentleman, but what was her intentions, as I told you? She meant good for the people of Pakistan. Good, and that's why they liked her. It reminds me that wherever you go, black, red, purple, your color is, we share the same blood. The palm, the color of the palm, you see? This is the same color as the white man here. So we're all humans. Come on, we are all humans. Don't judge someone by their color. You will be surprised. You will be surprised. You know? I'm going to end the video here. Yeah, I don't want to have a maniac episode as well. So this is EFK Original Documentaries. If you like what I do, subscribe to the channel. I will so much appreciate. And see you in the next one. Yep.